could you spend $1 trillion?
You just got $1 trillion.
Me over there.
Not a million, not a billion, a trillion. But there's a catch. You need
That's the thing. People don't realize how much a trillion is. It's 1,000 billions. It's crazy.
to spend all of it in the next 24 hours, or
in one
you
day.
lose everything. This should be easy. First, you need a new car.
Bro, I
Go to your
spend it all
local
in
exotic
10
dealership
minutes.
and
That
buy
cost
yourself a
give me-
Lambo.
Dude's
and a
gonna
Ferrari, and a McLaren.
give me
You know
all
what?
the
Just
samples
buy
in the
the
food
entire
court.
dealership. Now you have the $12 million
Bro's gonna buy
garage
a
of your
trillion
dreams.
glizzies.
But there's one small problem. In order to spend $1 trillion in 24 hours, you would need to buy out that entire dealership every single second. You need to think bigger. Let's hire 100
GTA
people to
God
track
mode,
down the 100 most expensive yachts and buy them for us. And let's throw in $1 million bonus for each mercenary. That'll be around a $40 billion check, but let's also buy
Yo,
the
wait,
biggest
what?
Let's throw in $1 million bonus for each mercenary. That'll
Hey,
be
sign
around
me
a
up.
$40 billion check, but let's also buy the biggest cruise ship of all time for $2
Sign
billion
me
and fill it
up.
to maximum capacity, paying for everyone's tickets and tossing in a Rolex too. Let's make use of this ship's basketball court by buying up every single
Holy
NBA team and
frickin'
having them battle
airball.
it out. Then let's get Snoop Dogg, Katy Perry, Justin
We buying the whole NBA? I buy the whole NBA and make them go at it. Winner takes all.
NBA team and having them battle it out. Then let's get Snoop Dogg, Katy Perry, Justin Bieber, and Beyonce to perform for us before sending them off to the International
takes
Space
all.
Station on
Oh,
a
yeah.
SpaceX rocket that costs $55 million per passenger. Now that you're hanging with rich people, you need a status symbol. You could buy the world's most expensive art piece for half a billion, but
talking-
why would you do
talking
that when
normal.
you could just buy the entire Metropolitan Museum per passenger? Now space station on a space,
Bro.
Justin Bieber and Beyonce to perform for us before sending them off to the International Space Station.
We
on a
sending Katy
SpaceX
Perry
rocket
to
that costs
space.
$55 million per passenger. Now that you're hanging with rich people, you need a status symbol. You could buy the world's most expensive art piece for half a billion. But why would
Taking
you do
up
that
space
when you
down
could just
here.
buy the entire Metropolitan Museum of Art for $100 billion, and then we could go over to transaction failed. There's no way we're already out of money. Yeah, we still have $800 billion. The Metropolitan Museum is an educational institution whose assets are held for the public benefit and are not owned by... You know what? Forget about the Met. The entirety of New York City is worth around 1.3 trillion. There are currently 33,210 vacant units available, so let's hire 33,000 people to snatch those up for us. And of course, throw in a 100K commission. But here's something you need to think about.
feel like
the most
they're
expensive
making it
real
way
estate
too
purchase
difficult
in
to
US
spend this.
history was this $240 million concrete brick. That might sound like a lot of money, but you spending $240 million is like an average person spending $60. I think instead of buying
Buying art
houses,
feels like
you
such a
should build
waste.
a mega project. The sky is truly
Could
your
just
limit.
buy the Louvre.
You can build your project wherever you want. If there's people in the way, buy them out with your pocket change. Or maybe try the Saudi Arabia method and relocate them into a graveyard. Actually, I think the Middle East is exactly where we need to go. So let's buy one Gulfstream G650 for each day of the year and fly across the world.
For each day of the year.
Welcome to the Arabian Peninsula, where people will build literally anything. The world's biggest picture frame, the world's largest clock, the massivest cube, the tallest structure ever, man-made
They're just
sinking
building
islands
shit to
shaped
build
after the
shit at
world
this
map
point.
From memory. These are cool. Let's build an even bigger artificial island.
Look at this. This looks... They built islands to look like the world. You got... What is this? South America. This is supposed to be America. I'm guessing Africa right here. Then you got Russia. What the heck? China and Russia all in the top. Australia. Damn, dude. That's crazy.
And for 20 billion. Of course, we can't forget about labor cost, so for that, let's budget in $10. Then let's buy every single one of those
$10
mega projects I just showed you
a
for
day,
a
an
total
hour?
donation
What
of
do-
101 billion, 292
what are we paying them?
and $10 to our Middle Eastern boys. But while you're here, take a look at the Burj
He's still
Khalifa,
trying to
the current
hustle
tallest
people.
building in the
You
world.
got $1 trillion
If you
and
were
you're
to
still
stack
trying to...
$1 bills to the very top, the tower would
You're
be
still
worth
trying to hustle people.
7.58 million. You still need to spend
Gotta save money, man.
87,000 times that. A stack so high it would go past the International Space Station.
Katy
If you ever
Perry's
want
still
to
up
spend
there.
this money, you need to stop thinking in real estate and start thinking in 51st state. Do you see where I'm going with this? Buy a country. In 2010, the country of Liechtenstein put itself on Airbnb at 70 grand a night. This is literally nothing. You can't be looking at countries hoeing themselves out for pennies. You need the ultimate prize. Somewhere cooler. Somewhere strategic. Let's buy Greenland. Based on the market price of
Greenland.
its
You
mineral
can buy
reserves,
Greenland.
the world's biggest island has a price tag of around 200 billion. We
damn.
can afford that. But there's one small thing in our way. During Trump's first term, when he proposed the conquest of
Buy 'em
Greenland,
all,
the
too.
country dismissed the idea as completely
'em
ridiculous
out.
and firmly stated that Greenland is not for sale. Huh. Let's buy an F-35 for $80 million.
Damn.
Fuck it. 2 F-35s. 3, 10, 100. 2
I know where
aircraft
this is going.
carriers, 3 destroyer ships, 1 ballistic missile submarine, 57,000 Blackwater soldiers, 1 for every citizen of Greenland. Now we have a $50 billion makeshift military, and it looks like Greenland's for sale after all. But by this point in your trillionaire spending spree, people are starting
So we got Greenland, we got a military. And what else we got? Do we got a city yet?
to take notice. Your exploits might not have hit TikTok yet,
Oh, we
but
got a
rumblings
dealership.
are
Yeah, you're
beginning
right.
behind closed governmental doors.
We got
Luckily
12
for you,
only
there's
$12
not
million
much politicians
dealership?
can say
We need more cars.
once you own them. Buy
got
a
jets. What the
politician.
fuck
We
we
got
need
Trump
cars
here
for?
for $1.5 billion. Kamala is almost $2 billion, but you do get a free Joe Biden. Let's buy up both of those and every sitting member of the Senate and House for a grand
Now
total
he's talking.
of $7.2
He wants real
billion
power.
for the entirety of American politics. This is a great deal, but there's a catch. Money influences politics, but it doesn't always decide it. I mean, look at the presidential race. Democrats outspent Republicans and still lost because $2 billion can't buy aura. More recently, Elon dropped millions of dollars campaigning for an election in Wisconsin, only to find
I'm
out
honestly
that
calling
shit
Elon
no
up
longer works
right when I get
everyone
that
hates
trillion.
it.
I'll probably
Even BlackRock doesn't always
buy
get what they want.
SpaceX, buy Tesla,
$1 trillion
cash,
gives
liquid.
you access to
1
almost
trillion
everything.
liquid.
But culture and public perception are things that are not for sale. Just kidding. Let's buy every single media company. The Washington Post, Time Magazine, the New York Times, Comcast, Fox. Global ad spend for an entire year is around $1 trillion. That averages to $3 billion a day. So let's run 1 week straight of propaganda and we should be good. But if you're still getting heat, there's one final method you can use. A donation a day keeps the guillotine away. It's time for philanthropy. There are a lot of causes to choose from, but you should start off with the people most in need. The US government. America is currently $36 trillion broker than a homeless person. That number is increasing by $2 trillion a year. Luckily,
is why
we now
people
have
think
you.
the Illuminati is
$220 billion honestly isn't going to do much, but it's definitely going to help. Assuming, of course, that the US government efficiently manages a $250 billion cash injection. You might be wondering how you're going to send the money. And the answer is pay.gov, an official website where you can make donations to the US government to reduce the public debt. So let's just enter in your $220 billion right here and... Well, turns out the maximum amount the Treasury accepts is only $1 million.
Bro, don't you know that's
You
not
just
gonna
bought the
go
government
to
a
anything?
bag of screws from Lockheed Martin. Maybe your money will put
There
a
we
bigger
go.
dent into medical debt. See, unlike the government, broke people dying of cancer aren't allowed to print more money to pay off their crippling obligations. Instead, their unpaid debts get sold off to collections for pennies on the dollar. But because of this discount, charities like Undo Medical Debt can erase $100 worth of debt for every $1 donation they receive. And with that ratio, you could wipe out all the medical debt in the US for just $2.2 billion. But what about world hunger? The UN estimated it would take $40 billion each year to end world hunger by 2030. We could afford that. Next, how about we help out malnourished and starving college students? Student loan debt in the US totals $1.777 trillion, with the government loaning out $87.2 billion a year. But before we try to attack this, there's a slight problem. Once universities catch wind that trillionaire Jesus is bailing out their victims, they'll probably just jack up their prices. On top of that, paying off
Student loans
might
are
be
the
seen as
final boss
unfair
of
to older
capitalism.
generations who had to pay their way through college and pick themselves up by their bootstraps. Turns out philanthropy isn't as easy as it seems.
It's not easy. Building Amazon was not easy. Philanthropy is very simple.
Give him a
It's really
trillion.
hard.
I agree with Jeff.
I wonder
here.
how
Let's
much
just
you
buy
would
another
sell.
$500 million yacht.
How much is Amazon
That's
worth?
enough philanthropy for
I
today.
don't care. $1 trillion liquid, he'd take it.
You still have $60 billion left, and I think I know how to spend it. It might be
$1 trillion in
semi-cheating,
cash.
but hear me out. 37% of Americans can't afford an unexpected purchase over $400. Being a trillionaire, your passive income earns you $400 every 0.126 seconds. The median net worth under 35 is $39,000. As a trillionaire, you could exchange your toilet paper with rolls of $39,000 bills for your entire lifetime and it wouldn't put a dent in your finances. $1 trillion gives you
Wiping my
horizons
ass with people's net
incomprehensible to the
worth.
normal paycheck-to-paycheck living human. Even after your spending spree, you still have so much money left that it gives you too many options. You could launch space programs, clean up the ocean, fund institutions. 24 hours just isn't enough time for this much fun. So let's buy more time. Make yourself a trust and safely store your money in it. Now, all of those humanity-shifting endeavors, you can sleep on them.
Is
On the
is
world's
making a
most
trust
expensive bed.
spending money? Does that count? I wonder how much. What is Elon? What is how much? Not net worth. Let's go with how much liquid cash does Elon have? Let's see. Not talking about net worth. We're around 50 liquid assets. So, bro. Well, I thought he was worth $1 trillion. Let's see. What about Bezos? But most of fortune invested. Bro, I'm calling up Elon, I'm calling up Bezos, and I'm giving them $1 trillion for what they got for their businesses. Liquid cash, direct deposit. And then I spent it. There you go. Now I own Amazon, SpaceX, Tesla. Probably can throw in Facebook in there too if I hit up Zuck. Liquid cash, I'm talking. I don't know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more, I'll tag all my streams down below. All right, shoots.